See it played, Rome at War, Volume 1, Hannibal at Bay. This scenario is Tunis, May 255 BC. A Roman army under Regulus is facing off against a much larger Carthaginian army under Xanthippus. One rules, I can't call it a clarification, but a rules discussion up front has to do with diagonal adjacency. I have to go over this because I basically flipped my interpretation of the rules 180 degrees on this, and so I do have to clarify, and I'm going to push ahead with this new interpretation. So areas that are diagonally adjacent share a single point, like this one here, but between area 26 and area 40, they share one point. They are diagonally adjacent. Areas that are diagonally adjacent are open for, as far as I can tell, all major game functions: movement, charging, attacking, retreating. Only if both areas that are diagonally adjacent to the diagonal, well, both areas that are adjacent to the point that connects two areas in diagonal adjacency, both areas are free of enemy leaders, units, and impassable terrain. Before, I thought I had very good reason to believe that units here meant enemy units. I now, and by the way, this primarily comes, not exclusively, but primarily from rereading stuff on Consum World forums, I now think that it is actually units, friendly and enemy, which is going to really change how I've played the game, and it's pretty significant. But what this means now, as I understand it now, is that for these Numidian cavalry here in 40 and this Roman legion in 26, right now each can attack the other no problem, because the adjacent areas to the point between them are free of enemy leaders, units, and impassable terrain. However, if a Carthaginian leader like Hamilcar is here, I don't think that Hamilcar as a leader is treated as a unit. And so, as I understand it now, the Numidians can attack the Romans, but the Romans cannot attack the Numidians now because there's an enemy leader that is in one of the areas adjacent to the point between them. So this is not reciprocal. And then, however, if another Roman legion was here, again, neither can attack each other now because there's a unit both areas adjacent to the point are not free of units. There's a unit in one of those adjacent areas, and so the Romans cannot attack the Numidians, and the Numidians cannot attack the Romans. And then impassable terrain there's not much in this. Well, there's none in this battle, and there aren't many, I think, in Volume 1 anyways. Okay, so I'll move ahead with that rules interpretation on diagonal adjacency. Okay, so before I move on, I just want to talk about conformation. Conformation only applies to long units. So these legions here, it applies to the legions here. It does not apply to the cavalry here or the light infantry that's over on the rear of the Carthaginian line. It only applies to the long units. What it means is these units, these five Legion units, they are exactly where they are on the board. And this is significant because, as you'll see, each of them has a center line, a white center line that bisects the piece from side to side. Okay, so let's take this 6th Legion unit here. What you do is, first of all, this unit must fit entirely within the area without touching, I think it's without touching the boundaries. So it must, oh yeah, I'll correct that. It's been a while since I've gone back and double checked. It's actually overlap. To be specific, the rules say they may not overlap into an adjacent area. I think somewhere along the way I started putting them entirely within the area so that it would be clearer, but I guess, nope, let's say, so actually this unit could move back just a bit more, like that, so that they are on the line, but they're not into the adjacent areas here. Okay, this is the significance of this. When you extend that center line in an imaginary line out to each side, areas that are entirely in front of that line are front areas. So I put this Legion here specifically because I wanted to put 41 into its front, in its front. So right now the imaginary line extends out here, and 27 is entirely to the front. 27, 40, and 41, because this line comes out here. So 27, 40, and 41 are entirely in this unit's front, and that's why I oriented it that way. Over here, and now I guess I can pull him back actually, but I put him here because I wanted to put 63 in this unit's front, because if it were oriented like this, 63 would be a flank area to it, and obviously I know there's Carthaginian cavalry over here, so in a movement phase, in the last movement phase, I moved these units to cover flanks. So now he's covering the flank because 63 is to his front. So if this unit wants to hit him in the flank, he has to come down here. Okay. Up here, this 5th Legion unit is still oriented straight forward. And so these Carthaginian cavalry, when they attack, they are attacking this Legion in its flank. So that's confirmation. It's very specific. The long units, these other units are just, you're just orienting them. You're just putting them to show that they're in the area. It doesn't matter. Confirmation has nothing to do with the rest of these units. That's why Regulus down here, I could have Regulus there, as long as I know that, because he's, well, I guess I would want to put majority to show that he's in that area, but I can put him on top of the long unit as well, but I don't like to do that. I like to see as many of the pieces as possible. That's confirmation. Now we can pick up. I'm going to pull off all these markers, and we're going to start a new turn. Okay, first thing is command phase. I do want to point out real quickly, the Romans, by the way, are down to one formation, Regulus's formation. He has Cotta still, who can act as a leader, but he doesn't have a formation. And on the Carthaginian side, Xanthippus still has Hamilcar and Bostar. But to trace command, you basically use a leader's movement allowance, which is 4, to move to the unit. So from Xanthippus, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 to Bostar, and Xanthippus goes 1, 2, 3 to Hamilcar. So Carthaginians are in command, and of course Regulus only has his one formation. I guess I'll also point out in this phase, so each player identifies which formation leaders are within the command radius of their army commander. That's what we just did. Hamilcar and Bostar are within the command radius of Xanthippus. Then the only player places in command a number of those leaders equal to his or her. So Xanthippus has an initiative of of 4. So his initiative of 4, he only has 2 subordinate commanders. So it's never an issue that as long as they're within command, that they're also, or I should say, they're within command radius, and so they are also in command. Yeah, I won't discuss the other case for this battle. It's just not relevant. For the order of battle phase, Xanthipus rolls a 5 plus his initiative 4 for 9. Regulus rolls a 3, which he adds to his initiative of 3, which is 6. So Xanthipus wins and decides who goes first. He will go first again, and he will. So then he rolls for the first activation phase. Ooh, and that's a very good. He wants to roll low. Well, he rolls a 1. So he subtracts 1 from his initiative of 4, which is 3. So he will be activating 3 formations, which is all of his army, right? He's got Hamilcar with cavalry, Bostar with cavalry, and his own infantry and elephants in the center. So what he's going to do first is he's going to activate his infantry in the center. You go through artillery. There's no artillery in this battle. Charging. Now the elephants can charge because they have one area between them, and the elephants are going to charge. Okay, I just want to interject. It's ridiculous the amount of rules interpretation and reading between the lines and filling in the gaps I have to do. I'm finishing these charges, and I'm certainly done for now. So these elephants charged, and yeah. Okay. These elephants were repelled. Here, well, I know this long legion took a step loss, and now it's on its G step, which means it's now a short unit. Over here, I know there was a string of rampages. The legion destroyed one of the elephants, which rampaged, destroying the other elephant with it, which also rampaged, which wound up reducing one of these elephant steps right here.